Hey there, Canonites, welcome back! So, while writing that Point of Light refresher the other day, I was struck by a revelation about the fate of the Spirit of Fire and Ryan Forge's quest to find it, and moreover, if this upcoming Halo book could confirm that theory. So, let's go back to 2017 when Halo Wars 2 released. The game opens with the Spirit of Fire hovering over the Ark, over 100,000 light years from the system they'd previously been moving through, outside the edge of their home galaxy. Naturally, their first questions are,
what is it? And where are we?
And the only answer we get, the only answer we've gotten in the 4 years since, was,
Sensor records show we arrived via slip space less than an hour ago.
Our slip space drive is gone. Something down there must have opened the portal from this end and pulled us in.
While I'm confident that 343 had an idea of how the Spirit would get transported there, it's pretty clear that they wanted to leave it open for future story potential. What can seem like the best idea at one time can turn out to be a hindrance later on. Nevertheless, theories abound about who or what could have transported the ship, both before the game's release and especially afterwards, given the game's lack of an answer to this fairly important question. Initially, and still to this day, the most common theory surrounds Mendicant Bias, the Contender-class Ancilla originally created to fight the Flood during the Forerunner Flood War. During Halo 3, Mendicant Bias was operating in the background to support the Chief's actions and defeat the Flood, and eventually redirecting the slipspace portal towards Requiem as a means to quote Mendicant himself, "have my masters know that I have changed." And ever since, Mendicant has seemingly remained silent despite humanity's numerous returns to the Ark, both in universe and in media. It's entirely possible that Mendicant Bias died or shut down or something at the end of Halo 3, as his final message to the Master Chief says, "And so, here at the end of my life I do once again betray a former master." Mendicant, if nothing else, certainly thought he wasn't going to live beyond his final actions in Halo 3. Still, it's not set in stone, and for the longest time, was the best theory we had to work with. However, as I mentioned at the start, I've been thinking about something else ever since I wrote up my refresher on Halo's Smoke and Shadow and Renegades. And before I continue, I want to point out that I am not the first person to have suggested this, but I hadn't previously seen it, or I don't recall seeing it. My memory when it comes to non-Halo, non-nerd stuff is absolute shite. So I don't want to appear like I'm trying to steal credit for this idea. But back on track, the theory that popped into my head was that perhaps Ryan Forge, probably aided by Spark, sent the Spirit of Fire to the Ark. Halo Point of Light opens in August of 2558, right on the doorstep of Halo 5 Guardians and the Created Uprising. Given this fact, and especially how much time Renegades covered within its pages, I can't help but wonder if Ryan succeeds in finding the ship. Maybe she doesn't find it in person, maybe a Forerunner installation is able to pinpoint it for her, but whatever the case, she finds it. And with the Created Uprising, she decides to get the ship to safety. Spark would suggest the Ark, given its distance from the Milky Way, and thus Cortana. Obviously, neither of them would have any knowledge about the banished presence there, no one did, but the intention makes sense. Now, there are some potential problems, the first being, how? How would Ryan and Spark send the ship to the Ark? Well, we can simply say some Forerunner mechanism did the trick. We know that Spark is looking for Bastion at the moment. This mysterious world first mentioned in the mission intel from Halo 5 and again in Halo Renegades holds untold secrets and perhaps a way to open a portal to the Ark for the Spirit of Fire. The other potential problem, as was pointed out when I posted this on our Halo story, is that Halo Wars 2 implies that the portal was opened from the Ark's end, the Spirit of Fire being pulled through. First, I can imagine that it would be easy to add some mumbo-jumbo about accessing the Ark's slipspace systems remotely. More importantly, however, we need to remember that this bit of information about the Spirit being pulled through was just speculation by Professor Anders. She's a smart gal, but like anyone else, she could be wrong. She didn't have all the information and made some reasonable, if potentially flawed, assumptions about the Spirit's travel methods. But overall, I think this could definitely happen. It would bring a bittersweet, though I think satisfying end to Ryan's search, at least for now. You know she'd eventually want to find her way to the Ark to meet up with the Spirit of Fire, while answering a burning question that the lore community has had for years. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Halo Point of Light releases on March 2nd, not even a week from now, so it won't be long until we know one way or another. Until that time, This has been Halo Canon. Hey y'all, thanks again for checking out this video. I really hope you liked it. If you did, consider subscribing and maybe even hitting that notification bell. I deeply appreciate it and it helps out the channel. But regardless of your decision, thanks for watching, keep on being awesome, and stay tuned, Canonites.